Just a little quick update. Just for you who may actually watch, and for my future reference, actually, that's why I'm doing this channel, so that way I have something to look back on whenever I actually get done with this car, and I can be like, well, I can look over them and know exactly what I did. It's my dossier, I guess. It's my journey of this car. So, alright, so what I've been doing, I bonded this rear quarter panel. I'm gonna go back over it again. I gotta give it a go by hand now with an actual sanding block so we can get it right. And then, I might add a little bit more, try and get my lines better. Because, you know, that right there, that's metal that I didn't bend back up. So I might have to clean this out and bend that back up real quick. But that's my line. That's where the bumper sits. I just gotta sculpt it a bit. You know, take my time, sculpt it. And from here all the way over is a hole where there was rust. There was deep rust in here, so I had to cut it all out right through here. So, not too bad. My pits I got smoothed, so that way it's not a dent anymore. Got those ones out. Started just sanding down everything, you know. I got the block over here, you know, covered up. I gotta figure out this clutch. If I press the clutch pedal, it drops all the way to the floor. Doesn't come back up. I don't know if it has to do with tension from the actual clutch being there, the pressure against the clutch fork from the actual clutch. I'm also contemplating just switching over to a hydraulic clutch, because I feel like that'd probably be a better route anyways, since I have it down this far. It tore up the entire airbag system. Airbags, the wire harnesses, the sensors. I added some 8-inch C-channel into this airbag area because I'm going to mount my gauges onto it. That way I can have them aiming towards me. And then I'll probably end up putting all the trim and everything back here and put more gauges here. This isn't really meant to be a street car. I traded my truck for a bike. Yes, I did. I started rigging back up the fuse box, everything. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with a Speedy EFI soon. Just fuck trying to use the stock ECU with a piggyback. Just go with a full one. Thinking I'm taking off these heads. They're fucking single overhead cam heads. Sure, they're ported for turbos already, everything. But I think I'm just going to go buy some 25Ds. Or D25 heads. I found some for 150 bucks. And I think that'd probably be in my best interest anyways. That way I can actually convert the timing over on that block too. Because that's the old style timing. That's a Phase 1 EJ22E, I'm pretty sure. Just because of the timing belt assembly. It doesn't use that new style tensioner. Moved the old block out. Threw it out back behind my house. Hopefully the garbage men don't get too mad at me, or the city. Threw it out here with the block, the heads. Just tossed it. Fuck it. That's my scrap pile. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Fucking just trying to get this car pieced together, piece by piece. There was that extra wiring bullshit for the fog lamps I took out. It ran into the cab. They had like 6 feet of wire in there. I'm contemplating moving my battery to the trunk, because I feel like that'd probably be best. I took out the antenna. I'm gonna get me something to put in there so that way I can fill this hole with some Bondo. So I'm gonna find me some like filler mesh. Oh. Surprisingly, I did not use filler mesh on this right here. I actually got the Bondo to form as I was sculpting it, like laying it down, and it stayed. And I put on a thick ass layer and sanded it down because I didn't want cracking. And so I just layered it on and I squeezed it down as hard as I could so that way I didn't have bubbles in it. Because I didn't want to have to deal with fucking bubbles. Everybody loves bubbles, but not those kind of bubbles. Alright. I decided to do something interesting with this intake manifold, but since I'm gonna just switch over to an EJ25 or the EJ D25 heads, this was mute. I got a T fitting, and I tapped into here because I was trying to convert all these sensors onto this manifold because this intake manifold isn't cut for these, like the throttle, the air idle control. This is the air idle control from phase 1, from the 94 Legacy that this came off of. And so when I drilled this hole, and I didn't notice that the manifold air pressure sensor actually had a little divot in it, so it'd still work with this manifold. So I teed this off so I could use it as a couple vacuum lines for blow off valves or whatever the hell I decide that I need this for when I was going to run it. But now that I'm not going to probably be using this, and I notched this because I noticed that the ground and the signal wire sides from the original air idle control, they flipped them. So I just flipped the actual connector itself, and that's why I notched it so it'd fit on here correctly. And that actually, I'm pretty sure will work because it lines up the wires the same way as the phase 1 manifold harness. It's just a phase 2 manifold harness, or OBD2 manifold harness compared to the OBD1. I don't know, I've kind of said fuck dealing with all that wiring nightmare. I'm just gonna go with something I know will work, and I don't have to try and deal with that bullshit. Like, I started picking through it and I noticed that all the shielded wires were torn apart. Oh, if anybody knows how to remove the freaking steering wheel. Do I need to go get a steering wheel puller? I pulled that nut off, which I should put that back so that way I don't lose it until I get that steering wheel off. Just put it on there and give it a couple threads. But that's a real thing. Can't get that out. You need to go get me a safety torque so I can remove those out of that airbag control unit, because that's going. Yeah. Just cleaning it up, getting it ready. I'm going to have to drop the tank and change up the fuel pump, because I can't run that regular fuel pump, the stock fuel pump, and it probably needs to be changed anyways, along with the filter that's in it and everything else, because I guarantee that gas is stale. I bought this off of a junkyard that had been sitting at for a year with a knock. People own this car before. They treated this thing like shit, like prized shit apparently, because they actually did some things to the motor to try and prolong longevity, like a new timing kit and everything else. And those are new heads that were on it, and new head gaskets. But it skipped timing because whoever that did the timing torqued down the sprockets really, really tight. Well, that'll be it, and I'll catch you guys later.